I'd like to welcome everybody here. Thank you all for coming. Members of the press, friends, supporters, family. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you the candidate for Limerick City South, a new voice for Limerick, and somebody who's going to serve Limerick first, and someone I'm very proud of, my father, Pat.
Thank you very much, members of the press, friends, people from the ethnic community who are here, and supporters. Thank you very much. I'm really paving the way for Patrick, I think, you know that. He's a far better speaker than I am. He has great enthusiasm, as my son Rory as well. Can I start by thanking my immediate team here, if I could, and that's Rory, who's Director of Elections, Patrick, Arik from Poland, who's a huge help and support, Marek, and Tara, my lovely wife Fiona, and everybody else is here in this room, because each and every one of you have made a contribution. And those of you that haven't, you'll probably be receiving a phone call and ask me why I've, at this age of wisdom in my life, entered politics. I've been involved in the political scene for many years, and it's really out of a frustration. Like you, I'm totally fed up of what's happening to our city. The huge unemployment, the state of our city. And I want to do something about it. And it's coming from a deep-rooted, quiet anger of how every year we're in exactly the same position. Nothing seems to change. So, with the help of God and my friends, I think we can make a change. I think we need to concentrate our efforts. I think every councillor has an obligation to put Limerick first, and put Limerick before party. I think this is a silent curse that's in our city, that people are taking instructions with people with different agendas, and they're not necessarily good for Limerick. With a combined 17-member of City Council, and if we have one voice, one determination to rid this city of crime and create jobs. During the course of the past few weeks, we were trying to see what were the priorities for our city. And of course, jobs is one of them. We have 12,600 jobs, or people rather, unemployed in the door right now. And within 2 weeks, we will have another 2,000 on that list. And nothing seems to be done. We've heard all the platitudes, all the promises, all the different programs that are going to come down the line, but nobody is doing anything. Like tomorrow, to create a job for one person. Show me some organization. Look to your state agencies. Where are the jobs they're creating? And I can say with all honesty that in the past number of months, we have created ourselves many jobs. We have a stream of people since we opened these offices a few weeks ago. We've had 4, 5, 7, 10 different companies, or ideas for companies, come into this office wanting to open it. And what's remarkable is more than half of them are from the ethnic community. And for 1 second, I just want to deviate there for a second to talk about the ethnic community, if I may, because they're making an unrecognized, massive contribution to our city. There are 75 different enterprises started by the Polish community. There are 25 by the African community. And we all know the massive input that we've had from the Italians, the Chinese, and all the other nationalities have come to make this city their home. And they haven't been recognized or appreciated for that. And instead we're finding politicians, would you believe it, requesting that they go home. So I intend to support their position and to create, I hope, a greater understanding of how beneficial they are to our own community. I think that in terms of, just shifting to another point, the general condition of our city. I don't know how many people we have employed down in City Council. It's in the hundreds, Pat, is it? How many? 600?
About 6, yeah.
We have 800 in the council. 1,400 people for a population of what? 150,000? Now, are we off our heads or what? To allow that? It's just not acceptable anymore. And this is the quiet anger that's going on inside my mind. I want to change that. So I broke a cardinal rule 6 weeks ago when I said I was going into politics, because I swore I never would. I've encouraged more people to go into politics, to try and young, intelligent people to make a change. But there's like a stigma across it. People are more amazed that I'm going into it than if I was starting an unusual business. It's amazing. Whereas it should be the pride and joy of any enterprising business person. To me, it was always the highest calling was to enter politics. And yet, there are people who have joined it purely for their ego and the greed that's associated with it. So I think we have to do something about that. And from the moment I get elected, I will be urging our local institutions, educational institutions, to form programs in order to bring young people forward into the educational system so we can stop this rot once and for all. They have never got a chance. And the people who are living in disadvantaged areas in our city, to empower those people so that they can be properly represented and not used as they have been. And on that note, I want to pay tribute to the mothers and fathers of the young children and young teenagers who have been brought up in these disadvantaged areas. In my view, they're the real heroes in our community. They have brought their children up to be honest, good, solid citizens, despite all the obstacles that you and I wouldn't tolerate for 2 minutes. And I think they deserve our support. So they're the reasons. I trust and I hope that I'm qualified to make some changes. I come from a long history of within the business community. I have been for the past 13 years socially involved. I divide it into 2 brackets. I say I'm a business entrepreneur, but I'm also a social entrepreneur, and that's where I've devoted most of my life in the past 10, 12 years. And that's helping people less advantaged than we are. We do this with great people like Billy Fox here, who manages really an incredible organization called ALGEF, with 18 full-time accredited counsellors to aid people with drug addiction in all parts of our city. I've done a lot of work with the ethnic communities in order that we don't have a situation where people who visit, who come to live in our city, are isolated and form ghettos. We don't have ghettos in this city. The Polish Association is probably the best example. We have created medical services through Jan and Daria here, who run a very fine medical service here in the city with dental treatment, general medical facilities. We have language training with Justina, who over 1,000 people have gone through and learned basic English. So these are ideas, but each of them turned into a job creation and a business for these people. And that's how we can start creating jobs immediately. I'll give you an example. And Pat is very much in his company, is assisting in this. We have a young Polish man who wants to have a shop, a grocery shop. He wants the biggest and best in Limerick. He comes from a background of Polish business people. He has some money and he can't get anything from the bank. Nothing, zilch. He's one of 10 in the past 2 weeks. And he needs small capital to get up and start it. And yet we have a system where they insist you must be producing something for export before their grant age. Again, we keep shooting ourselves in the foot. And nobody changes it. To finish, I think I want to change it. And I'm going to be a full-time counsellor, not a part-time counsellor. And I very much appreciate you taking the time up here today and to support me. and it's to support us. It's not just me. I'm an instrument and a tool to use, if you wish, in order to create the change we need in our city. So, humbly, I thank you. And I will work as hard as I possibly can for the city. Thank you very much.